Fred Vasseur is in extremely hot water. And finally, after weeks of Ferrari desperately trying to keep this bombshell secret under wraps, the truth has burst into the public sphere like wildfire. Behind closed doors, out of the view of prying eyes, the Scuderia has been operating in full-on stealth mode, quietly orchestrating what could potentially be one of the most earth-shattering shakeups in recent Formula One history. On the surface, Vasseur is a picture of calm, razor-sharp focus and utter devotion to reconstructing Ferrari, but behind that meticulously created exterior lies a rather more volatile reality. Recent developments have revealed a bombshell. Ferrari made a bold and daring move for Christian Horner, attempting to poach him from Red Bull. But that is not the whole story. The team is also targeting Antonello Coletta, the mastermind behind Ferrari's unmatched dominance in the World Endurance Championship. So, what does all this mean? Simply put, Ferrari's management no longer sees Vasseur as untouchable. The disastrous start to the 2025 season, with 0 wins from the first 10 races, driver tensions boiling over, and a car that just refuses to perform, has shattered any faith left in Vasseur's leadership. The very project he was hired to lead is imploding, and with rivals like McLaren and Mercedes rapidly closing the gap, the pressure on Vasseur is rapidly reaching a critical boiling point. No rumor this is a bombshell capable of rewriting Ferrari's future in Formula One. So, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me till the end, because what you're about to discover could explain not just Ferrari's internal meltdown, but why Vasseur's job might be hanging by a thread. Now, let's dive into what this moment really signifies for Ferrari. Not so much for Fred Vasseur, but for the entirety of the Scuderia from top to bottom. This is not about certain technical failures, questionable strategy calls, or bad race weekends. No, this is an identity crisis, a direct challenge to the very soul of motorsport's most iconic team. Charles Leclerc, once Ferrari's golden boy and future world champion, now seems like a shadow haunting Maranello's troubled halls. His voice, once filled with hope and fierce determination, now drips with frustration that runs far deeper than mere disappointment. At the Montreal GP, his fiery radio outburst after being called in for a pit stop, despite insisting his tires were fine, wasn't just a misstep. It was a glaring symptom of something much deeper breaking down. Confidence. Confidence in a team of strategists who've lost their rhythm. Confidence in a garage that no longer functions like a unit. Confidence in a common vision that once united them, but now feels like little more than wishful thinking. And when a driver as talented as Leclerc loses that confidence, the results can be disastrous. But the drama doesn't stop there. On the other side of the garage, Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, signed with Ferrari with ambitions of cementing his legacy and leading a resurgence. But just 10 races in, he's gone from hopeful architect to reluctant whistleblower. His guarded public comments, though, have provided a window into a toxic mix of outdated methods, communication breakdowns, and what he openly described as a desperate need for a mindset change. When Hamilton utters, "There's a lot going on in the background," this is not small talk. This is a searing red warning flag, a sign that deep structural problems are simmering at Ferrari. Political stagnation, fuzzy decision-making, and the suffocating grip of old-school thinking disguised as tradition. In doing so, Hamilton has put Ferrari's top management squarely in the spotlight. The dysfunction he's hinting at? It doesn't begin on race day. It starts in the boardroom. And at the root of all this chaos lies Ferrari's attempt to reinvent itself under Fred Vasseur. In 2024, it was all looking so promising. 5 wins, a good fight for Constructors' Championship glory, and momentum. Vasseur had gained some momentum with the bitter departure of Binotto, and the team was seeming on the move. But then along came 2025, the new car concept, the complete rethink of the design. Most in the paddock said it was a gamble too far, and now that gamble appears to have spectacularly backfired. Ferrari has traded the rock-solid foundation it built 2024 on for a swooning SF25 that's explosively unstable. full of aerodynamic turmoil, brake overheating, and diabolically awful tire management. It's a car nobody, not even Hamilton, can tame, and the reward? A team not only underperforming, but on the brink of a complete and utter meltdown. Yet this is merely half the tale. The internal strife has been more ominous in recent weeks. Team sources indicate Vasseur is now facing increasing pressure from on high at Ferrari. And with each successive race, it's building. But here's the twist. It's not just the lack of results that's fueling this pressure. It's being fueled from the outside as well. It's claimed Ferrari discreetly made an approach for Christian Horner this year. That's right, the Christian Horner, longest-serving, most successful team principal of the current grid, the one who transformed Red Bull into a dynasty. Ferrari wanted him as Vasseur's replacement, but he turned them down. In an exclusive interview, he made it clear, "My heart and soul are at Red Bull." He dismissed the speculation with grace, but make no mistake, his rejection was a blow. Ferrari failed to secure the one man they thought could reset the culture, bring modern thinking, and guide the team with ruthless efficiency. And so the search moved closer to home. Enter Antonello Cleda. Lederer may not have the global name recognition of her, but within Ferrari, his record speaks volumes under his leadership. Ferrari's World Endurance Championship program has flourished back-to-back victories at Le Mans unbeaten so far in the 2025 season, a team built on structure stability and relentless attention to detail. Cleda represents everything the F1 team currently lacks, and now, according to multiple Italian reports, he's the front-runner to take over, should Vasseur be dismissed. The plan being considered, sources say, isn't just a straight replacement. Ferrari is exploring a dual leadership structure, Cleda taking over sporting and technical oversight, with Lorenzo Giuetti managing the commercial and strategic side, much like the Zak Brown-Andrea Stella model at McLaren. It's a bold idea, but in the current climate, bold might be the only way out. The bigger question is what happens to Vasseur if results don't improve. Recent emotional defense in the Canadian GP press conference revealed a man feeling the strain he called media speculation. Disrespectful accused journalists of undermining morale and pleaded for calm, but his words, however sincere, may have come too late because Ferrari isn't just fighting for wins, they're fighting to hold together the very fabric of a team that seems dangerously close to unraveling behind the scenes. Engineers are burned out. Trackside strategists are second-guessing every move, drivers are airing grievances publicly, and the fans, they're losing patience. So are the sponsors, so are the shareholders. Even the failed pursuit of Adrian Newey adds to the snowball. Once again, Ferrari tried to lure a legendary figure to reshape their fortunes. Once again, they came up short. Newey chose Aston Martin instead. A team with less history, fewer titles, but perhaps more freedom to build. Without bureaucratic interference in this environment, how can Leclerc and Hamilton feel secure? Blair may have signed a long-term deal, but with performance clauses embedded in his contract, he won't hesitate to explore an exit if Ferrari continues to flounder, and Hamilton, he doesn't have 5 more years to waste. He came for a project with ambition. Instead, he's stuck in a political minefield, watching podiums slip away due to inexplicable strategic errors. This isn't just about Vasseur anymore, it's about Ferrari's soul, about whether the team can admit its mistakes and evolve, or whether it's destined to repeat the same cycles of chaos under different leadership names. Next few races won't just decide Fred Vasseur's future, they could determine whether Ferrari remains relevant in the hybrid era of Formula One, or slips further into irrelevance, while the rest of the grid writes the future. So, stay exactly where you are, because this isn't just another chapter in Ferrari's long history of internal struggles. It could be the final warning shot before everything comes crashing down. Fred Vasseur is not just battling a car that refuses to perform, or a driver lineup that's growing increasingly vocal. He's battling the weight of Ferrari's legacy, the pressure of an entire nation, and the quiet storm building within Maranello's own corridors of power. What's unfolding now is bigger than a team principal under scrutiny. It's about trust eroding from the top down, and about two of the most high-profile drivers on the grid beginning to question whether the promises they were sold were ever truly realistic. And that's the real danger, because once belief starts to fracture inside Ferrari, it doesn't just lead to mistakes on track. It leads to exits, to instability, to chaos, and to Leclerc's rising profile, the media pressure, the boardroom, uncertainty, the angry team radios, the failed strategy calls, the desperate search for leadership. All of it is converging into something that feels less like a crisis and more like a reckoning. If Ferrari continues down this path, they don't just risk another lost season. They risk losing the very people who could have led them back to glory. But if change does come, if the team finally faces its flaws head on, this moment might also be remembered as the turning point. So don't blink, don't scroll, don't miss a second of what comes next. Like this video, subscribe,